No.
Maryland side.
Steve? Can you hear me?
And sorry, it seems
For
to.
some reason, his computer is locked.
There we go. This is perspective on the church side. This is the main entrance. It's double height from the outside. The second level is the common area for the residents. It includes some games room and a gym. Otherwise, we have extensive plantings. The building is set back 5 feet from the property line, which is then 15 feet from the curb or more, depending on the street. The overall view, again, massing, it doesn't have color or features or finished materials shown yet. This is a typical, this is on the east side. The townhouse entries have a front entry porch recessed from the street. This is from the north side, basically the back side of the building, looking to the south. And those are the images we have. The bicycle parking meets code and is inside the building. The transit management plan applies to this project, where the developer pays $1,100 per unit and is committed to 4 years of transit promotion and transit subsidy for the residents. There is no off-street auto parking. And there is not a rooftop garden, so all the common space is either in the second floor or with balconies that are around the building.
Steve, can you hear us?
And that's really
It's very weird.
that's our presentation. Again, we want to get comments, questions, and respond to your questions. So feel free.
Steve, could you flow through the slides? We haven't seen anything above slide 1.
I don't think he can hear us. Do you have your microphone on? I've sent him a couple texts.
Oh,
Hey, Steve, I'll give it a try. Can you hear me? This is
Yes.
Phil.
yeah, can you hear me?
You can hear me. Oh, hi. Yeah, so we have a couple questions. The group has been trying to get some audio through. I guess most of us aren't being heard by you. But the main question is, we didn't see any of the slides, unfortunately, Steve. Could you start with the beginning of the slideshow itself? We did hear your explanation, but we didn't see the pictures for whatever reason. Could you at least try to maybe take us through that once more?
Sure.
Thank you.
And let's check to make sure that they are turning.
Indeed, and I can verify that,
Maybe unshare and then reshare. I think there's just a problem with the sharing. It sounds.
Yeah, it seems to be.
I don't know why you're hearing me and not anyone else, Steve, but right now I'm translating for the group.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was a great presentation.
I bet it was.
heard it.
We just didn't see it.
Okay.
None of us saw it, or at least I don't
heard
think
it.
any of us did. We
If
heard
it's
it.
a file, you can email it out, and that looks better. That
No,
looks
there.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Steve. Can you hear everybody now, or is it still just me, Steve?
Can hear Phil.
Can
All
you
right,
hear?
well, I'll
Can
keep
you hear
talking.
us?
Yes,
I can hear you guys, everybody. I'll just
Great.
Okay, I think
Hey,
it's
everybody,
working
I'll
now.
just do this. It's only common sense. Steve, could you just take us through this slideshow visually once more?
Yeah.
A little slower than that.
Yeah, I'll get back to the start here. Here we go.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
this
you.
is number 1. Okay. And I think I am hearing most people. So, but
Okay, great. I'll shut up then.
No, that's okay. Okay, so once again, the project is at the corner of Maryland and Church.
Indeed.
I think I've mentioned before, there's quite a lot of activity in this area, and we understand the impacts that are of concern, but we'd be glad to hear more comments as I get through the presentation here. The building is 27 units. set back 5 feet from the property line, plus on the ground floor, the units are entered off the sidewalk and have a kind of an entry stoop. The units on the ground floor are 2-bedroom and they're 2 levels. So they're basically 6 townhouses around on 2 sides of the building. The bike parking is here. Trash is here. Are you seeing my cursor move around when I point?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Main entry is on Church. On the 2nd floor, these are the upper levels of the townhouses. And then in the center of the building is a common area with game room, exercise equipment, and just general gathering space. The typical upper floor has 2-bedroom, 2 2-bedroom units on the north side, 4 1-bedroom units. Oops, sorry. Here and here, and 1 studio unit. So it's a total of 27 units, 8 2-bedroom. Oh, sorry. Well, I had them up. Anyway, 2 2-bedroom per floor, 4 1-bedroom per floor, 1 studio per floor on the upper 3 floors. This is the back elevation, the north side. This is the east elevation. This is the south, the front elevation with the entrance here, lobby entrance. This is the activity space on the 2nd floor. Has a balcony on each end. The upper 3 floors. These are the townhouse units. Here on the Maryland side, these are the townhouse units like this, and the upper floors with balconies. Maryland entrance area, kind of a double height from the outside, but this is the activities space on the 2nd floor. These are the 2nd floor of the townhouse units. More of an overall view from the corner of Church and Maryland. The materials haven't been chosen, but they'll be chosen from the DOZA design standards lists. This is a close-up of how the townhouse entrances work. This is on the east side of the building. And this is from the north looking south toward the corner here. So did that cover the images you missed before, and ready for questions or comments?
Yes, perfect. Works great. So we got one question. You want to ask it, Bo? You want me to ask?
Yeah, so I had 2 questions. Hopefully my connection's coming through okay. Do we know what range of price the apartments will be and how many units are dedicated to low income housing, if any?
There will be at least, yeah, it does fall under the affordable housing, inclusionary housing requirements. So at least 5 to 10% will be affordable, probably more, probably 7. I don't know the price ranges. That hasn't been determined yet, but they're intended to be low to mid market value, and then the affordable will be less than that.
So 7 out of the 27.
It hasn't been decided yet, but I would assume at least 7 would be.
Okay.
And then my second question, besides what we're seeing in the architecture rendering, will there be more trees or green space on the sidewalk areas?
Yes, there will. Yeah, we'll have ample street trees. We'll also have trees on the 5-foot setback around the building, and lots of shrub, lower shrubs and small trees. Yeah, we did one rendering that showed all the trees and yet couldn't see the building, which for better or for worse, right?
Steve,
Hey,
can you-
everyone. Go ahead.
So we have a question. It might be easy if you guys know how to raise your hand in the thingamajigger, and I can call. If you don't, just say,
Sure.
I'm raising my hand.
Sure.
I don't know how to do raise hand.
Okay, you can just say, I'm gonna raise, can I raise my hand?
It's down at the reactions button down at the bottom.
Oh, there it is.
Got it. Yep.
Okay, Miles. Then Holly.
Hi, my name's Dylan Buxbaum. I'm one of the current residents of 5606 North Maryland. Starting off, we were not informed of this project in any way. Not by the land developer, not by the owner of the property, not by our rental agency. Yes, we are just rental tenants, but we had planned on being here for a long time. And the first way we found out about this was someone coming onto our property to take soil samples very early in the morning and had been told by the property owner, who to the best of my knowledge is a man by the name of Max Sass based in Las Vegas, that the property was vacant, which it is not.
No.
Not only would this project be a shame for the neighborhood, it would also displace the people who are currently living here. There is already no parking along these streets whatsoever. And if this project, as it looks, has no car parking whatsoever, residents not only of the current apartment complexes across the street from us, but this project would have to park 4 or 5 blocks away at minimum in order to access this with cars. So unless you're screening everyone who's going to be moving into this structure to possibly not own an automobile, then that's going to be a problem. Also, the house that is currently here was built in the 1800s. It's historically valuable. It's also a very, very important environment, as we do have yard space here for a lot of local pollinators and endangered bird species that come through this area. This is an untenable project. I don't know where you're expecting these people to park. I don't know how you're expecting this to increase the quality of the neighborhood, but we've already spoken to several small business owners and neighbors, and none of them want this. No one wants this here. This is a money-making scheme that would line the pockets of someone who, to the best of my knowledge, is not in Portland and would not have the desire to come here. So I think this project is a damn shame, and I don't think it's practical even for the people attempting to build it. So that's our 2 cents. And yes, I sound heated. I apologize if I come across as rude or brash. This has been a very upsetting process for the people who, again, are living here right now and, again, have not been informed of this, much less asked. And yes, I know that as tenants, we are not legally, we don't legally have the power to be, give consent to this. That's through the agencies or the property manager or whoever. But we are living here and we are paying to live here. And that means something. And given that we were offered street parking upon move-in in October of last year, and the apartment complex across the street from us has already removed all of that, and the people who live there already complain about there being no street parking whatsoever, I don't know how you're expecting people to fill 27 units worth of cars on this tiny side street. I don't know how that's expected to happen. I'm utterly
So
baffled.
it's I'm going to interrupt you for a second here. So
Please do.
it's a house and the property sold. Is that correct? I'm just
Yes,
trying to
I
understand
believe
because
so.
our land use person is not on. So
Sure.
we can contact him and ask about the land use piece.
To the best of,
Unfortunately,
we are renting through a company called Legacy Property Management. And based off of talking to some people who have come onto the property, again, without our permission, they said that about in fact, it's actually, we have pictures of records that one of the, I believe the soil sample guy, when he was here, he showed us records. The property was sold without our knowledge. Not that we were just tenants. Again, they're not legally obligated to tell us if the property we're renting changes hands, but it was sold to the person who wants to develop this 8 days before we signed our lease. And we'd made it very clear to the rental company, again, Legacy Property Management, that we wanted to stay here for a long time. And yes, that is just a verbal desire of tenants that holds no legal sway. We're very aware, but again, we have not been informed of this at all. And there's, again, been multiple people who have come onto this property without our knowledge or consent, who have just said, oh, by the way, we're demolishing your house. So anyway, and that's not professional.
yeah, this sounds like
or-
maybe a renter issue. It seems I'm not a professional, but I would assume that there are laws in place that keep people from going on your property and selling without informing you. Plus with COVID, I don't think
There are.
you can
There
sell.
are, and
So
those have been broken.
I would go that route. Unfortunately, Steve is the architect, right? So he's
Sure.
can't really do anything here.
Sure.
But
And
what we
again,
can do is we can. We can
No
talk to
ill
the
will to
land use
anyone in this
person.
meeting.
I'm gonna have to wrap this up because we're already over time, but we can talk to the land use person
Okay.
and see and follow up. If, will you put your email, or you can just, actually, let me give you the email
Yes.
so you don't have to send it to
Sure.
us.
Thank you very
But
much.
go to land use. What the heck is it, Brad?
I
Land
apologize
use
for
at
going over
Overlook
time. Thank you
Neighborhood.
everyone for listening.
No,
No
not
ill
at
will
all. I
to
think
anyone here.
it's something that we should look into. So go to land use at overlookneighborhood.org and
Okay,
email our land use chair, and he can help you talk through some of those things.
excellent. Thank you very much. We just don't want to lose the house. That's all.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't blame you. They're hard to come
Yeah.
by for sure.
And I have one question related to that, just a clarification. I'm
Sure.
seeing on Portland maps that it was sold on September 15th of last year. Is that the date we're talking about? So you've been in there a year?
I'm not 100% sure, but we signed our lease very early October, so that would line up.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Or we might have
Oh,
signed it honestly late September. So yeah, that seems like it would line up. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, contact him and
Sure.
see.
Okay. Could we get
Right.
that one more time?
Yep, it's
The
land
place to contact?
land use at overlookneighborhood.org.
Can I just say that I'm really disappointed that the people in charge of developing the project had not been in touch with you. We had no idea, and as far as our responsibility is, we apologize for that disruption, but we didn't.
Thank you.
know we didn't know that situation, and we're very
Of
sorry
course.
about that.
Of course. Thank you. Again, no ill will to anyone here.
Yeah.
And I totally understand everyone. We're just doing our jobs. Thank you so much. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. We just wanted to come and show up with the little options we had to let everyone know. Thank you so much, everybody.
Totally
Yeah, for
understand.
sure. And contact them. We'll try to help.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly, I think you're up.
Thank you. I echo a lot of Miles's concerns. It's a lot. But I actually attended your meeting that you had, was it last month, about the other development across the street, and I still have the same concerns about parking as well. I'm a business owner right there, and it's already a struggle. Can you tell me again what you were talking about with the incentives for transit? The first time you went through your presentation when we couldn't see your slides, I was having problems following. I know you said something about that.
Sure. Actually, if I'm still sharing, I can pull up the.
You are.
Yeah, hold on just a moment here. The transit development.
And now you're not sharing, just to let you know.
Okay.
And I think it's a city ordinance, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the property. I don't even, do they even let you have parking at these if it's within a certain, and I wish that.
Well, parking is not required until you have 29 units or more. I don't know. Let's see. So let me try to share this screen.
If I remember correctly, you said something like it was $1,100 a year per unit.
It's,
That
yeah,
sound right?
yeah. So anyway, sorry I can't share that, but yeah,
We can see
Yeah,
it.
there it is.
it's $1,100 per unit, and it requires the owner of the building to provide transit incentives and information, and do a multimodal incentive package plan to all tenants for at least 4 years. And the PBOT administers that program and ensures that it's followed. I think if you go online to TDM plan / or PBOT, just Google that, it'll come up and have all the explanation. But for this unit, for this project to be about $30,000 that they pay into an incentive fund that then they have to provide transit incentives. I realize that doesn't take care of all the cars, but it is something, and it does respond to the zoning that is in place and was adopted that allows projects like this.
So the city's zoning says that you don't have to have parking if it's over 29 units, and this is going to be 27. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And then the other apartment or project that you have proposed across the street, how many units was that one? Sorry, that's off subject, but it's
That's
related.
69,
But you're not having parking there.
right? Though, yeah, I know.
I'm very confused.
Oh, that one, those are very small studio apartments designed for people who really don't have cars. And when you provide affordable units of a certain percentage, no parking is required.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
You guys are.
yeah, it's kind of an intertwined set of requirements, but typically over 19 units, you need affordable housing or you pay into a fund. 29 units, you need parking or you provide affordable units.
So in this little 2-block area, there's going to be 27 plus, you said 69 units going between the two buildings and no parking for any of that.
Right, it is a city issue usually, and this always seems to be the question that whenever we have, I mean, this is the biggest concern that everybody has when we have an apartment or a condo like this. So this is, you're not wrong in asking these questions, but it's a city, it's a city policy, and unless that changes,
Alex,
the architect's not going to do anything.
do you know
Phil.
who to talk to at the city? This is Cassie.
Oh, Cassie.
Because I think there is a super valid point of saying, like, if there are multiple 28 unit apartments going in on one building that none of them have the requirement to put in parking, I think that's something that is
It's an
not
abuse of a loophole.
it's not the architect's
Mhm.
problem, but obviously I do
Sounds
feel
like
like
a
it's
great
where
issue for the next board.
neighborhood association might be able to step in and try to figure out.
Yeah, no, it does sound like a good issue for the next board. Just try to, because that, like I said, that ends up being the biggest issue that we have, or the biggest largest comments that we get. So I think delving deeper into that is probably worthwhile. So I would say when you look at the land use next year, to put that on as something to discuss. All right, I want to move on. Let's do 2 more questions. Phil.
Hi, everyone. In the interest of time, Steve, are you still with us? I'll just ask one question. What is the timeline on your project that we're talking about today? Both for my own curiosity, because I live just 2 blocks down the road, but also for the people that are obviously living in the house. So what's the timeline realistically?
It has not gone in for permit review yet, so unlikely that it would start construction till spring.
Okay. Is there anything more specific you can tell us, or any more specific recourse you might be able to give the current tenants for, what they might be able to do to understand that timeline and what they could do to react to it? That's my only question.
Sure. There's time. Well, like I said, we're not in for building permit yet. I'm not sure. I think it might be a neighborhood association option to comment more formally. I'm not sure if there's any, because we're not doing design review and we're not asking for any zoning code exceptions. There's not a land use process that would be in place.
Okay, let's do one more, Nick, and then Benjamin and Rachel, if you could put your questions in chat if you haven't already. I will copy and paste them into an email that we'll send the land use chair.
Is there any way to ask questions from the phone?
Nick, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna
step on some opinions here, but I think for one thing, we moved in. I'm on Church, Minnesota, so we're just 2 blocks east of here. And we moved into this neighborhood specifically as a household that doesn't have a car, just because we have the Max line to the grocery store. We've got the 72, which takes us east to Portland. And it's I don't know. I would just like to say that, I'm kind of very much proponent of this kind of project where we're not trying to place more space for cars. We already have over 200 linear feet on each block for cars. So that's it ends up feeling like this neighborhood is already kind of a parking lot. So I don't think we can appease that just by putting more onto properties too. So yeah, I think, Steve, I just this slide they're pulling up is actually very helpful for me to kind of see what we can do to kind of help mitigate that effort. The other question, I guess, overall though, is that as far as garbage access, it looked like there was there going to be a curb cut on the Montana side, or was that just for garbage access, I guess?
It's just for it's not a curb cut. We usually do the garbage either with small dumpsters or the bins. So it's not like a driveway for the garbage truck. No.
Okay, I guess that'd be my one concern, is that if you have 29 units or 27 units, however, each with individual bins come trash day, we've seen a few of these projects, suddenly trash day, there's just kind of a mess full of individual trash bins, and whatever we can do to kind of mitigate that would be really helpful.
Sure. Yeah, we'll look at that. Yeah.
All right, well, we're about 10 minutes over time, which is okay. As I mentioned, if you have additional questions, please put them in chat. And if they are related to land use, we'll send them to land use. If they're related to the architect, we'll send them to you, Steve.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. I have your email, so I'll forward any questions that end up coming your way.
Keep in touch and answer questions, and keep in touch. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you guys. So the next topic, oops, then is transitions projects. Do we have anybody on?
You do?
Yeah, I do see that Roma's here.
Ah, there you are. Great.
Hello.
Hey, do you have slides you want to present?
I do, and I'm super used to, I'm going to share. Hopefully this will work because I'm really used to Teams, not Zoom, in sharing. So hold control.
Huh?
Can you see that?
Yep, we can.
Great. Let me just, come on. Here we go. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I was going to be funny and say, now let's move on to a lighter topic, homelessness, but I don't think that, I haven't read the room, so I'm not sure if that's the right thing to say, but I'm Roma. I'm from Transition Projects, and we were invited today to come and speak to you. And so everybody, you can see the presentation?
Yes.
Great, great. And I'm the Director of Development. I've been there for 6 years. When I started at Transition Projects, I was the 140th employee, and 6 years later, we're over 350 people. I started we had 4 shelters. We had just brought on our 4th shelter. We're now at 8. Last January, we were at 10. So we've been growing. So I'll tell you a little bit more about us. For those of you who don't know about us, we exist to help those experiencing homelessness transition successfully into housing. Our tagline is from homelessness to housing. And what I like to say is we help people transition from the street to housing and everything in between. We're over 5 decades old. We are almost 53 years old. And we started in Old Town with 20 people living in a hotel. We had a priest that started Transition Project. And he and a volunteer who was a nun, they fell in love. They both left the church. They're still together. They're in their 80s. And when they started Transition Projects over 50 years ago, they had the same mission we have today, which is to help people on their journey as they transition. We help about 10,000 people a year, and we help over 1,000 people get into permanent housing apartments every year. So I'll go through that a little bit more. The folks you don't see are our outreach team. They're out every day. They are specialists in getting out onto the street, in the camps, distributing resources to people that are living in tents. They're helping them connect to programs and services. It can start with a bottle of water or a Band-Aid, or helping them get medical aid, to eventually being able to offer them a bed in a shelter same day, walking them to that shelter. But there's a lot of time that is spent developing relationships so they can start to move people on these journeys. And they really become a lifeline. They work year round, and especially during severe weather, which now is not just very cold, but as we've seen with the smoke and then the high heat, they're out there helping people as well. And like I said, they're out every day, and they're all over the metro area. We have the largest resource center in the state. Our resource center pre-COVID was seeing 400 or 500 people a day. You can drop in and use a toilet, a shower, do your laundry. We are a mailroom for thousands of people who don't have a permanent address. People can get fresh clothing. We have a clothing room. They can get hygiene items. They can get lockers, haircuts, replace their ID, get a birth certificate so they can get their ID, so they can get a job or move into a place, or get an ID just to be in shelter. So it's a very busy place, 8 to 4, Monday through Sunday, 365 days a year it's open. And we have resource specialists that work with these hundreds of people each day. The next, when I tell people about transition projects, I usually say we do 3 things really well. Our basic essential services, which include the resource center as a starting point, but our shelter services. We are the largest provider of shelter beds, shelter services in the metro area, in the state. As I mentioned, 6 years ago, we were just bringing on our 4th shelter. We're up to 8. Pre-COVID, we were at over 800 people sleeping in shelter every night. That has been cut in half. But on the other side of that, as we go into the winter, we have operated a severe weather shelter, providing at least 300 more mats, beds, hot drink, a warm place to sleep. Last year was at the convention center. We did rapid testing, COVID testing before people could come in. And we did thousands of nights of sleep. Over 5 nights, we did, I think 2,500 people stayed, they come and go. So our shelters are all over the metro area. We have some of the only couple shelters in the United States. Our shelters can be we have some only for men, only for women, and then women and couples. And then you can also bring your pets. So we don't turn any pet away either. So you can bring your partner, your possessions, and your pet. That's kind of our mantra. And then permanent housing, as I mentioned at the beginning, we house about 1,000 people every year in apartments, scatter site. We don't own very many apartments. But you were talking about, with the property, you were just talking about the deeply affordable housing, low income housing. This picture is of our Argyle Gardens, which we just built a year ago, June, in Kenton. And it is 72 units of deeply affordable housing. It's single room occupancy, so SROs, where you have several, you have bath facilities that you share, 6 to a bathroom, and then 6 to a very large kitchen area. And then we also have studio apartments there. Rent starts at $300 and goes up as high as in the 700s. And so when you talk about deeply affordable, low income, our participants, we call our clients participants, They have 0 to 15% median family income. So we're talking very little money. And if you get $700 in Social Security or disability, you can't live in an apartment that's $750 a month. You know, so about 5 years ago, we decided we would make a difference and do something about that in Portland. So we addressed it with Argyle Gardens. It's been really successful, and it filled up immediately. And we have 2 other properties that are single room occupancy apartments. So very small kind of micro apartments, one on North Williams, the Barbara Mayer, and the other is on MLK called the Clark Annex. And so each of those are about 30 units. And then here's a picture of the Barbara Mayer that I just mentioned. And this is clean and sober housing, again, single room occupancy for women. And then something else that we do, our wellness access specialists work with people to identify their physical, mental health needs and to develop an individualized plan. So a lot of folks that have been living on the street, whether it's chronically homeless, meaning a year or more, or are new to the streets, have not looked at their health or had access to a primary care provider. Oftentimes they're using the emergency department as their primary care provider, which is something that we want to help hospitals not have because it's so expensive, and then beds aren't available for folks who need them. And really people experiencing homelessness in our shelters and people that go into housing, we can help them find medical care, a primary care provider. We can help navigate them to the appointments and to their medication and getting on schedules and understanding how to help themselves with their health. And it's so important, along with, of course, having a safe place to sleep. We want to make sure that their health is good and they're getting what they need to keep that health going. And then we have retention. So we continue to support people after we've helped them get into apartments. So we don't just say, hey, here's a bright, wonderful, warm, safe apartment, and we'll see you later. We're with them about 18 to 24 months. And in that time, we're helping them get the funds they need. It could be their benefits, could be helping them with employment, new employment, better employment. But really this case management is a lifeline to helping people who've been homeless, who are now housed, reconnect with community. They are citizens in our city and they need to reconnect. And we don't want them to fall back into homelessness. So we might help them with their budgeting and shopping. Here's one of our case managers, Abigail, who's awesome, working with Randy, who's also awesome and was in the men's shelter in Bud Clark Commons. He is an incredible man, a musician and an ex-boxer, professional boxer, and just delightful, and is in low-income housing in downtown Portland and has just been thriving for the last 5 years, but worked closely with his case management to make that successful, that transition. We have the largest grant for veteran services in the state, and we work with veterans every day to help them get into housing, stay in housing, eviction prevention. Maybe they need help with utilities. Whatever it is that we can do, we have the grants from the VA, and we work very hard to keep veterans off the streets and really to be that safety net for veterans as we help them, again, integrate back into the community or help them stay in their community where they're living. And then our rent well program is incredible. It was owned by the city. They didn't want it anymore. So 5 years ago, we said, okay, we'll take it. It's a tenant education course, which is phenomenal for folks that are coming off the street and want to get back into housing. It shows them day one, they learn what their tenant history looks like, or if they never even rented before, they learn how to start, how to get started, and what their rights are, what their landlord's rights are. And they go through this course, they get a certificate, and when they go to their landlord, they can ask the landlord to join the rent well program. And what that means is the landlord signs up, and together they work together. to have a good relationship, but if something happens, if there's damage, if the person leaves without finishing paying their rent, the state has a slush fund that's part of rent well program, and they will help cover costs that the landlord is left with. So it's really a win-win, but it's been very successful. Honestly, I think maybe a couple people over the last 5 years have actually accessed the funds, have needed the funds, but it has been very successful. We have 30 to 40 partners. We're going statewide. We've translated it into Spanish because we know that the Latinx community is the largest growing community and has been for the last 10 plus years. So it's been very successful, and it really helps our landlords. It helps our citizens learn how they can be more empowered and knowledgeable about their own tenancy. So I want to make sure, I'm not quite sure how long I have, and I don't want to go over my time, but before I go into how you can help, or would you prefer I went into how you can help and then we can come back for questions? What would everybody prefer?
Yeah, maybe 5 more minutes. So however that fits into your
Perfect. Yeah, that's fantastic. And again, I really appreciate your having me join you tonight. So how you can help, we love our volunteers. We have thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of volunteer hours worked every year, which equates to full-time employment that we don't have the funds to employ. So people help us sorting mail in the mailroom that I mentioned, or organizing donations that come in, leading activities in our shelter. And the list really goes on and on and on. There's great things to volunteer doing. If you like to plan events, come and be on our events committees. You know, there's all kinds of things. So we really want to invite you to come and explore what's available. Our number one, most famous, most loved program is our Meal Provider program. It has been around for almost 50 years. You can come and cook a meal. We're just this month reopening our kitchens to volunteers. They've been closed for the last 18 months, but you can cook a meal. You can join a potluck and cook a meal, or you can join a potluck and just deliver a part of that meal. Or if you said, hey, I've got a Boy Scout troop, and I think all of us and the parents can put together a meal and we'll drop it off. Fantastic. That's amazing. And honestly, with COVID, we saw the number of meals being dropped off to our shelters go up, which was really exciting. So if you're interested and you like to cook, it's really fun. We have all kinds of other programs, and we just suggest that you go to our website, tprojects.org. And there's a 1-hour orientation every month if you want to learn more. And I'm also putting this up that you can email our volunteer@tprojects.org if you'd like to volunteer. And that's Emily, who's our volunteer program supervisor, or you can call her at 503-488-7745. Our website has all of this. You can attend an event. We have cleanup events with Solve that we do. We also have our annual gala, which has been virtual the last 2 years, and I'm starting to think it might be virtual again. Super fun, but you learn a lot. You can host an event. You can contribute, do a drive, host an event, assemble hygiene kits that our outreach teams take out on the streets. You can do an underwear drive, or a sock drive, or a coat drive, whatever floats your boat. And then finally, I know Overlook has certainly lived with people experiencing homelessness. And we always like to say, that it's important to show compassion. They are our neighbors and community members. We don't know what someone has been through or encountered. People experience their homelessness differently. There's a lot of trauma. Every person on the street has experienced trauma, some kind of trauma, whether it was pre-homelessness and then once they're homeless. Patience, kindness, and being a good listener. I know, again, I know all of you have had experience And then, just looking out for your neighbors experiencing homelessness and connecting them to resources. The Rose City Resources Guide, that little tiny booklet is always a good one to have and hand out. I always carry water in my car. I always look people who are experiencing homelessness in the eye. And even if it's, good morning or how's it going? Or, just looking at them and seeing them is really important. So I am going to end on, I think that's the last one. Oh, finally, just, again, you can go online and sign up for our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And if any of those excite you, we have a monthly newsletter as well. And yeah, that's it. So questions?
Awesome. You guys are doing a lot of great stuff.
We do a lot, and there are a lot of us out there, a lot of different organizations out there doing a lot. And so I wanted to make sure that, if there are things that you had questions about, happy to answer them.
Stacy had one question about where we can get the Rose City resource guides.
Yeah, so that is an amazing little tiny book. It fits in your pocket, your purse. It is amazing. And Street Roots actually puts it out. They finally, this last year, put it online. It's been around a long time. We are one of about 25 sponsors. You can get it through Street Roots. You can also, if you see a Street Roots vendor out there, they should, in their little plastic bag with the Street Roots, they should also have the little books. I think they charge also $1 for those. I'm not positive, but you can also, you can call Street Roots and, or go online, and they're 50 cents each. And you can, buy a box for the neighborhood association and pass them out, whatever, however you want to use them. But that's how we get them. I put them in my car and have them for friends and that sort of thing.
Awesome. So if we want more information, does anybody have any additional questions? We can do one more question if somebody has one.
I have one. Hi, Rowan. It's Casey Boggs. We met like about 10 years ago. Good to see you.
Yeah, I recognize your name.
Yeah, thanks for all you do and all the wonderful things. So yeah, I'm on the homeless update committee here for the Overlook neighborhood. So appreciate all you do. Thanks for all the updates and volunteering. That's helpful. Now, if we do come across people who are experiencing homelessness, do we inform them about transition projects, or how does that work as far as giving them an option, just kind of letting them know that you exist?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I even say that, hey, do you know about transition projects? Most people on the street know us as TPI, which drives me up the wall. But I usually say, do you need something? And are you, what can I tell you? Are you looking for some help? And I will normally say, have you heard of transition projects? It's the first building off the Broadway Bridge, from going from northeast to northwest. And I'll just say, go to the resource center. It's open 8 to 4. If you need help, or and they'll usually say, oh, I'm looking for shelter, or I need my ID, or I just got here, or so there's just a number of what you kind of have to have that first question of how can I help you? But I met a couple at New Seasons in Concordia one weekend and did that. And I think I had my book with me and I gave it to them. But a lot of people do know who we are. But it's always good to check in. I also think just, when it's over 100 degrees, I carry bottled water, and I will see people that I know are on the street because I see them all the time, and I know they're experiencing homelessness, and I will literally stop and run over and give them a bottle of water because they just don't get enough help, enough support. We don't have enough shelter beds. I mean, that is the reality. We do not have enough shelter beds in the city. Shelter is not the answer, but we keep hearing about, permanent housing, apartments. I get that, but apartments don't come overnight. It takes a year, 2 years, really, on average. So while we're waiting for those apartments, we need to support people. And we always we do our part. Transition Projects does. We're sad that we've had to cut back on number of people to be able to physically distance. That's really breaking our heart. I'm hoping that during the winter, we'll be able to add more people back into our shelters.
Cool. Well,
Right.
appreciate your time. That was great information. That was very helpful. So if there are
Great.
additional questions, we can either just go to the website, or if I get any or if Cassie gets any, we'll send them your way.
Great. Yeah, send it to me anytime. I'm happy to answer questions or help anyone. Thank you.
Fabulous.
And
Great.
thanks for
Thanks
all
for your
you
time.
do. You're awesome.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. All right, you guys. Next is reimbursement for gift certificates. This one will be fast, hopefully. So this one is just requesting, I bought the gift certificates for our event, and I'm just requesting reimbursement from the board for that. It was $60. Where are you guys? I can't even find where you are. Oh, here you are.
I make a motion that we reimburse Alexandra for the money she put out for our prizes at our meeting on the 31st.
Yeah.
I second that motion.
Oh, thanks, Bo.
Cool. Thank you. Any opposition? Great. I will send the receipt to you, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay,
Send
that
you a
was
check.
okay. That was short and easy. We got 5 minutes back. Okay. Election results. All right. So I know that some folks are on who, let me close this. Let me share my little cheat sheet here. Created a cheat sheet. I don't have last names, but you're just gonna have to bear with me because it was quick and dirty that I put this together. So share. All right. So we have a list of our new members. Again, I'm not gonna, I didn't put people's last names in here, but we have Juliet, we have John, Phil, Nat, Stacy, Nick, and Grant. And I think we have one, two, how many people are on? I think Phil, you're on, Stacy, and Nick. I haven't seen it. Have I seen anybody else?
Hi.
You guys want to do a quick 30-second introduction?
I'll start, I guess. Yeah, my
All right,
door's
go for it.
open. Oh, well, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Phil Potter. I just decided that I want to get involved in the neighborhood. I bought a house in October, the end of October 2019 at 1218 North Simpson Street. So I'm just I'm right near Ockley Green. I'm right on the northeast corner of what's defined as Overlook. Before I bought it, I actually lived in one of the apartments nearer to Mississippi Street on Montana, Skidmore, North Montana, for a year and a half or so. So now I live in a house that's was built in 1912, I suppose. So I'm in one of these older houses that, you know, I'm right around the corner from the conversation that we were having today. Honestly, I was surprised by how local to my house that the conversation took place in today. I expected more conversation towards the, you know, west side of interstate, but I'm on the other side of interstate in between there and I-5. And so I'm from the East Coast. I've only been out here for about 5 years. But my family's from upstate New York. I grew up in Florida, met my wife in Boston. She's from Ohio. And so we're kind of from all over the place. And now we live here in Overlook. So that's where we are.
Cool. Well, thanks for volunteering.
Yeah.
Stacy or Nick? Again, you don't have
I
to.
can,
You don't.
I can go. Hey everyone, I'm Nick Coda. I live, as brought up, I live on Church, Minnesota. So it's actually just like 2 blocks east of this project that we talked about. But yeah, we moved in December last year, and then I actually first moved into Overlook neighborhood back in 2017 after graduating. We moved into Overlook Park Apartments. My girlfriend, now wife, we both moved into that apartment together, and spent the last few years kind of being bounced around Portland from apartment to apartment. And so we finally wanted to come back to where it all started, and here we are. Now we're kind of at the opposite end. I'd like to say the fun half of Overlook, which is the everything east of Interstate. But yeah, no, it's we love it here, and kind of to speak to what Phil said, I just kind of wanted to get more involved, and I appreciate these discussions and hearing other folks, care about this neighborhood, because it is a great neighborhood to care about. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I've lived in the Overlook neighborhood since 2015. I moved here from the East Coast also. I live on North Denver near Jessup. I have been working as the co-chair as the school liaison, which has been great to update the neighborhood through the weekly emails and the Overlook views for what's going on with the schools. And I'd like to continue doing that. That's my interest, is becoming a board member. And I was I'm still the owner of Hobbies Unlimited, but we don't have a shop anymore. I'm transitioning the business online. Unfortunately, COVID killed our physical location. So that's all I have to say.
Cool. Thank you. Well, welcome. I know you've been working with the board for the last year, so.
Oh yeah, and I'm
Thanks for staying
also been trying to revive the business association in the neighborhood with Bo, which is called Shop Overlook, and we hope to partner for some upcoming holiday events. So visit Shop Overlook on Instagram and online to learn more about that, and I'll share that information here too.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you. And you reminded me that I left off schools. I did this on the top of my head, so it's not surprising. Whoops, I can't spell either. All right. So what I wanted to do was just put together kind of like a cheat sheet for you guys to think about the next meeting. So we had 7 new members. We currently have 1 space that is filling the year. So somebody will want to put somebody into that position, and the other 6 will be 2-year positions. And then on October 8th, you'll elect a chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and then here are the different committees that we had in the past. And then I added these last 3 are the ones that we had talked about throughout the year that we did not have this year. So that's my little cheat sheet. So if you guys are interested in any of these committees, that's the list. And on October 8th, you can sign up to chair one of those.
I think it's October 5th. Thanks.
What did I say?
8th.
Did I say the 8th? I probably said
a
like
lot, but not on a
5
Friday
different
night,
things. I probably said 9
Thank
things.
you.
Okay, whatever Brad says is when the meeting.
No, yeah, thank you for putting that together. That's very helpful, and we can send that out to the board members so they're ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I can send that out. All right, that was what I had for election. So we didn't have an election because we had 7 openings and 7 people volunteer. So everybody is on. All right, next, board reports. Does anybody have anything? Any updates?
This is Casey. Quick update on the homeless update committee. We had a fire this past week on Friday over in the Overlook Park, or outside the Overlook Park. And it was at 6:30. You may have saw the stuff on the news. I did not want to be on the news, but we had to do it anyway. But the response, which I just forwarded on to everyone, was from Commissioner Ryan's office via Commissioner Hardesty's office about what we can do in the event that there is a fire, homeless or otherwise, obviously calling 911, other things that you can do from a response to that, and then connecting the homeless, people experience homelessness, reporting that to one point of contact. So I just forward that on to you. we are still from the committee part, the committee of two, still connecting with other neighborhood associations and the city to see what we can do to support or at least get updates along the way. I have not seen any of meaningful or significance to share that than what has already been done in the recent newspaper. But the idea is just to obviously get involved. There's volunteer opportunities to help, and there's also reporting if there is homeless camps that are that need to be reported to. That's one point of contact. So that's all I have.
And you sent that out in an email, right?
I just did. Yep. Yeah, probably within like last 10 minutes. So
oh,
unless you're
okay.
really on it, should be in your inbox.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for the update.
Hey, it's Lee. I reached out to Tom at Adidas about that property inquiry. He was not aware of it, but he's digging into it. That was the message as of like last Wednesday. So I'm going to follow up with him again on this Wednesday and see if there's any new information.
Okay,
what property inquiry are we talking about?
There was a rezoning request for a property that Adidas owns. And the concern is that normally when to take I think it's on the historical registry.
Oh, they weren't. Last time we met, that land use came up. So I emailed land use about that project and he brought that up, and that response was, hey, I also heard about this rezoning that Adidas is doing of one of the properties that they own. It's one of the houses that they're asking to rezone. And what's the land use guy's name?
Brian.
Brian had said that he noticed that come up in land use as a zone change request. So he asked Lee to email Tom.
Okay. Yeah. Let us know.
Thank you.
So they want to make a house, an office as opposed to a house?
I don't know any more information. It could be that, because I know that they purchased some houses during the construction project last year. So maybe they're wanting to make them into some sort of office building. But right now, I think it just came up as a zone change request.
Got it. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Anybody else?
Did we ever find out about?
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Lee. I think you're going to ask about
from the
property,
last
right?
meeting, did we ever find out about the ownership of the property that's the corner of Greeley and Going that has the chop shop camp on it?
No, I did. All I found a PO box, and I found a couple names for architects, and I've called asking for contact of who actually owns the property. And they're not being very forthcoming. So my next call will be a little bit more
Correct.
demanding. Telling them that if the bluff cuts is on fire, that I'll hold them responsible. That's how they usually give up names.
Last meeting, we did discuss that if it became a wild goose chase, that it's probably the neighborhood association's best course of action to directly contact the city.
Yeah. Complaints should be made about the property to the city as well as to the people that own it. But the city is actually a lot better about sending out notices and people typically listen to the city better than they do neighbors.
All right. So maybe Marcy will still look, and then if not,
I haven't given up.
Figure out something to write to the city. Okay. George, you had something.
Just referring back to that previous thing about Adidas. One of the things when they were supposedly going to be using a house or two for visiting company people, I would assume those are head muckety mucks or who knows from Germany. And so would that necessitate because they were using them as offices while the construction was going on, which was addressed as a violation of zoning. But I never did hear a resolution on that, whether they just continued to use them that way and not have to put the on-street stuff.
Well, I
That
think
just turned
COVID might
can
have
of worms.
resolved that because they're not using any of their offices. So the houses aren't being used as offices right now because of COVID. They might just be sitting dormant.
Right.
Mhm.
But if they're looking at post-COVID and people back in the offices, that original idea of having these houses to use as housing for visiting company officials.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure, would that require a zoning change as well, making it kind of an adjunct beyond a rental kind of thing? I have no idea.
I'm not sure
It's-
about that.
Yeah, it gets more mysterious as it goes along with Adidas. What can we say? So
Well,
All right.
okay, so
anyway,
if Lee hears back.
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. Okay.
All right. Any other updates?
Okay. Then I'll.
Go ahead, George.
You have an update, George?
Well, I was just going to jump in with the my minuscule thing here. The Public Safety Action Committee meeting was held via Zoom last week on the 16th, and the next one is going to be coming up via Zoom on October 21st. And to access the notes, and the notes haven't come out yet from Akimi or Joyce, who are co-chairing that. And it's just at psac.nne.pdx@gmail.com. And I'll say that again, psac.nne.pdx@gmail.com. And then they would send out, if you go to that, the Zoom information to get into it on October 21st. And also it should get you the notes from this last meeting and possible prior meetings. And this last meeting, Sergeant Butcher talked about the Delta Park cleanup, and I haven't seen the extent of that, but they put some resources into that, police resources. The NRT guys, there's only 2 others besides her, helped out on that one. And Johnny Lewis, and this is referring back to the other comment about the one point of contact. And there, it appears, moving along in the direction of COVID recovery and more site cleanup and relocation, but it's still very much in a state of flux right now, especially, and I hate to say, with the end of summer and going into the fall routine, that they're going to be strapped for resources for the immediate future, but they are reallocating them, and they are concentrating more on trying to get things cleaned up. And that was about it. So, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. So since this is my last board meeting, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve to my fellow board members and to welcome all the new board members. I'm not going anywhere. My business has grown, and I will be leaving the board to focus on Shop Overlook and my business. But I will still be around to now, since I'm the publisher of the Overlook Views. So I will still be an active part of the Overlook Neighborhood Association and helping publish our newsletter that goes out. I just wanted to leave tonight, since this is my last opportunity on the board, to kind of address with a little message to our new board members that are here. Jess, we all have things to contribute based on our vast experiences. I just advise our new board members to be mindful of all individuals, mindful of all disabilities and limitations one might have, no matter personal feelings or lifestyle you live. A single voice should not go unheard, whether you disagree with a matter. We can all be passionate individuals to our own beliefs and lifestyle, but as a board member, you must not forget other individuals' concerns and disregard them or be combative. You are here to build a community and help voices that go often unheard. I wish all the new board members the best of luck, and remember, community matters, and just be mindful of others.
Good advice. Thanks, Bo.
Thank you,
And thanks
Bo.
for participating in the last year. It was nice having you on the board. Sure. And yeah, make sure you continue to participate, and you will be doing the newsletter. So you'll be hearing a lot from the board.
Do we have a deadline for the next newsletter that we need to be keeping in mind?
I
Once we figure-
emailed Alan about that, and it sounds like I'd have to reference. Do you know off the top of your head, Alan? I'd have to look at your email again. End of October.
It should go in the first, it should go in the 3rd or 4th week of October. You should have it all together. And you should send it to the printer at the end of October, and it should be out the first week of November. From the 4th, or whatever it is, the first Monday in October and November to the Friday. It's usually the first Monday in November.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
what was that?
I'll just request, since it's my first time taking over, that maybe we can get things in a little bit sooner than what we normally would.
That's okay too. You've got
You'll probably have to talk about it at the next meeting.
Yes.
The October
board meeting.
5, 8, 6, 7 board meeting.
I
I don't have to remember anymore.
I think it's-
All right, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Say that again, Alan?
I just tell Bo to show up to the board meeting in October, and I'll fill him all in everything he needs to know.
Perfect. Sounds great. Anybody else before we move on to public comments?
I might ask, are we losing you, Alexandra?
You are losing me, or
You're-
you're gaining somebody else is a better way to put it.
So you're going to be on to other things, or still involved at some other level, like with the views and whatnot, or?
Yeah, I'll still be involved for sure. But I don't, yeah, I'll probably go back to more of, maybe working with Grant on sustainability, or whoever wants to do the sustainability stuff, because that's really my interest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, work is bearing me. So I just work basically from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then I get to come here. So it's just a little too much right now for me. But I will be involved, and if things lighten up, then I will come back for sure.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
I've
thank
been
you
there
very-
for 4 years, so it's been great. It's been great working with you guys over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been very interesting. I've actually really enjoyed it, and learning about the neighborhood and how the city works, and meeting all you guys. So yeah, I'll be around.
Yeah. And thank you for your capable leadership. You'll train your replacement well, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Who's ever in there, I will fully help. Yeah. for as
Especially
long
how
as
to
they
make
need.
the Zoom thing work. I still, I haven't.
Well,
got a
obviously I
clue.
didn't do it so well on the trivia night. So maybe I'm not the best one,
Yeah,
but I guess I set up the rest of them okay. So
I missed that, and tonight I had a little bit of a guffaw or 2 or 3, just trying to make the hotspot work so I could make my iPad work, and I'm all thumbs. Although you usually use your index finger to move stuff, but
sure.
I'm awash. So thank you, Alexandra.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And Marcy is the other person who is leaving. So Marcy, you want to say a couple things? Anything? Marcy's been on for a couple of years.
I will still be attending meetings.
Short but sweet. Haven't gotten rid of her yet.
I enjoy this. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, great. I hope
Thank
you will.
you.
You're very active and involved in the neighborhood, so it's been nice having you on there. All right. Anybody from the public? Any public comments? Anybody from the public? Any residents or otherwise have any comments? Going once, going twice. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for a successful and still COVID ridden 2020, 2021 board. Hopefully things will get better over the next year, and you guys will be able to meet in person again, and most importantly have like some of those really fun events. I'll look forward to going to them, especially
Sounds
the
good.
one at Atomic Pizza right by my house. So all right, you guys. Well, we almost finished right on time. I think we're pretty close. I will send out that little PowerPoint I put together, and I will try to attend the October meeting in case there's any questions about any chair questions that the next chair will need help with. So
Thank you.
otherwise, take care,
Thank
and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Who's
Right.
going to be doing the next board meeting?
Well, you get to pick. You get to pick, George. The next meeting.
Who,
Well, it's a little
who's
tricky.
who's going to set up the Zoom part of it?
I can
Is
help
that
you.
Brad?
It's not a problem. I can help.
We'll
I
figure that
won't. I
out.
won't leave you in the lurch. Don't worry. I'll set you all up. I promise.
Not just to fail.
I won't just leave and say go for it. I will help.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Take care, you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Alexandra.
everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Bo.